HIPAA appointments. This is one of the critical aspects of delivery for a HIPAA service or any kind of healthcare provider within the HIPAA space, whether it's a doctor-patient type of relationship, a pharmacy with a telehealth appointment, possibly a lab and reviewing lab results, going on site for an appointment, maybe doing a diagnostic. The list really does go on. And the appointment itself has a lot of nuance to making sure that any prerequisite steps are completed, any intake forms are optimized to prevent duplication of inputs, any kind of synchronization with back office systems like EMR, EHR systems, etc. Okay, so today we're going to dive in and look at some different examples of this and kind of talk through all of those scenarios. Let's get into it. Okay, so here in this example, you can see a user is on a pharmacy site. They are selecting their supply, their dosage, and the strength of an item, and then they're going to submit this. Whenever they do, this is going to allow them to go through and see their medications and then select whether or not they want to try to get a refill as they progress with their prescription. And they can also go in and attempt to set up an appointment with a pharmacist in this case. And whenever they do that, they can see the details of the appointment, including the times, the doctor, the appointment type. Is it a video chat, a telephone chat, etc.? And then whenever they are going through and looking at the appointment, they can also cancel, reschedule, or start that appointment. So they can actually kick it off from within this application. Now, some considerations for this. Whenever the patient makes this appointment, ideally we want it to sync with the pharmacist or the doctor or the healthcare provider's scheduling system as well. So we need to be able to integrate to that scheduling system so we have accurate scheduling. We also need to be able to send notifications to both parties, letting them know that this appointment was scheduled, and ideally inserting the scheduled appointment into the healthcare provider, in this case a pharmacist, into their scheduling system. Ideally, we also want to make sure they've all come prepared for the appointment, so they have an idea of what to expect in the appointment, especially if this is their first one, and that they get there a little early, in particular for the patient, and that they have just kind of all the information completed beforehand. So this is really going to go into an opinionated governance, or just kind of an opinionated workflow that we're going to take the user through. So once they set the appointment, we want to go ahead and send them information about what to expect, how to prepare, how to make sure everything goes smoothly. It may not be complicated, but this is really an opportunity for failure, and we want to try to eliminate that as much as we can. Now, the other thing about the appointment is we want to make sure that the doctor or the pharmacist, in this case, healthcare provider, has the ability to see details as well, and that they can go drill down into this particular record and just kind of see what the patient has provided in response to maybe a questionnaire, an intake form, what they're looking for, and then really, again, guidance for the healthcare provider on best practices that we can give them from the database, from an EMR, EHR, from any resources that we want to provide them, so that they can really genuinely provide a lot of value during that telehealth or in-person or video chat or just chat, any format. We want to really be thinking as the HIPAA platform, how can we best provide both parties with opinionated governance and workflows and notifications so that they really truly are the best version of themselves with each other as possible. Now, the other thing that we want to consider, of course, is the security rule, the privacy rule, and making sure that any information we're gathering for the appointment is only available to the parties who have the right role or authorization to be able to access that information, that we're logging all the information about what data is going back and forth, that we are properly securing access to this data. So this can include multi-factor authentication and just generally following the best practices for HIPAA compliance. Okay, so now let's take a look at another example of a HIPAA appointment system and how we're going to handle this unique scenario. Okay, so in this example, you can see that we're using a grid view to show different appointments. Here you can see the basic information about the appointment, But we also have a link to the video, and the user can go and view or change, and they can also make a new appointment. Now, whenever they go to make a new appointment, they can select the appointment type. So this is pretty cool. So you can see a lot of the different options here. So in this particular case, we have the option to use a basically a first-time member of this EMR, EHR type of system. It's a back office system that's specific for this use case. We also have the ability to schedule an in-person, do a telephone visit, cancel or reschedule, and then do a follow-up. Now, this is really interesting because we're giving the user a lot of options, and then based on the options, we're going to provide them with the appropriate fields and help them kind of go through this process. Although this isn't rocket science, it's really important to figure out what for your particular scenario makes sense to bring in these intake steps, and how you want to guide the user so that they can actually go through a process where they're getting kind of guidance on what to expect, how it's going to go, this type of thing. Now, that's kind of what you'll see here. So this is saying it's this meeting type or this appointment type with this staff member. Here are all the details. We're going to provide them with the notes, and then we're also going to provide them with steps to get ready for the appointment. And this truly is one of the most important aspects of these appointments, is making sure that both parties understand how to be prepared, that we're giving them notifications as a reminder because they're human beings. They need reminder, potentially even giving them the option of specifying what type of reminder they want to receive so that they can get a appropriate reminder that isn't going to be bothering them, but it's in the format that they prefer. So this could be text message, this could be email, it could be some other form of reminder, maybe even an auto phone call that we have call them up and make sure they verify, yes, I am planning on being at the appointment. So we can do some pretty interesting things where if they don't respond in the affirmative that they're planning on making the appointment, we can go ahead and follow a more escalatory workflow to confirm that they're going to be at the appointment at the right time. So this is a really helpful process just to make the best use of everyone's time. And again, this kind of goes into some of the messaging and allowing them to set their notification settings. So if we go take a look at that, we can see kind of an idea of some of those different notification settings that they might prefer. And then last, I wanted to just talk about a mobile application. In this case, this mobile application is linking up to an EMR system, and this EMR system is using Fire. And basically, the very high level is that we're setting appointments for different physical locations. It's a multi-location care facility, a pretty traditional care facility. And in this particular case, the user can go in and see their upcoming appointments. They can book an appointment. They can see some of their notifications, as you can see here. And so I'm just going to go into an appointment, and you can see we can see the appointment details. We can cancel. And this is on a mobile device. So they can come in and see their list of appointments. And then from there, they can actually make a new appointment as well if they would like. So kind of the idea is that this can work in a omni-channel type of model. So you can have a website, a kiosk, and a mobile application, tablet application, etc. And all of this data can securely transmit using HIPAA compliance kind of best practices, and basically allow the user to manage their appointment from their phone, from the website, from a kiosk, etc. Now, again, with these appointments, probably the biggest thing that we want to do is make sure that the user is prepped and they understand how to kind of go into the appointment, what information they might need, and kind of next steps after the appointment as well. So we're following up beforehand, we're following up afterwards, and this can apply for the healthcare provider as well. Okay, we hope that was helpful. We certainly look forward to talking with you about any potential projects that you may need some help on and resources, and we'll kind of go into that next as far as options for how we can share information that might be helpful for you in the future. Thanks for making it to the end of this video. If you would, we encourage you to consider the opportunity to take advantage of our complimentary discovery process. If you're really interested in getting more information about this particular topic, that is a great way to, in a no-hassle, kind of low-key way, get to interact with experts within this field And our commitment to you, if you decide to engage our team for a complimentary discovery or just a complimentary strategy and discussion, is that we will absolutely point you in a positive direction, help you kind of accelerate on your path, even if there's not a good fit for us to directly work together. We have a lot of resources and a lot of experience in this area of focus, and we just encourage you to take advantage of that if you're seriously looking in this space. If there is a good fit, of course, we'll also present you with great options that you can consider for how we might work together. And either way, we certainly appreciate you taking a look at this video. We encourage you, if you think this was valuable, to hit the like button. And if you'd like to see more of these videos, go ahead and hit subscribe. And we will look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.